Hey, is Craig?
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's role play session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. And I'd like to start by welcoming our participants to our role play session. And it's my great pleasure to be here with all of you today. We're going to do some role playing. We're going to talk about all of your follow-up related issues and get better and better with the universal callback script. So I'm super excited about that, and I hope that all of you are eager to do some volunteering or just type any questions or anything that comes to mind into the chat, and I can address those. But before we do that, I want to focus on a particular element of the universal script here that I was discussing over the last couple of days with one of our members, and it had to do with making the offer to follow up with a prospect. In other words, if we determine that a prospect is motivated but their timing isn't right now, like clearly they're down the road. They represent down the road business. What should I do with that prospect? Okay, so that's the question. Should I be booking appointment? So I want to make sure that this is very clear with everybody. Okay, watch this. I want you to take that prospect and I want you to determine whether their motivation lies in selling their home first or buying a home first. If they represent a buyer prospect, okay, this is very, very important. You're going to sign you're going to sign buyers to 12-month buyer agreements. So if a buyer says, I'm not going to be buying anything for 6 months, here's the question. Does 6 months fall within a 12-month contract? And the answer is yes. So the answer is different depending on whether the prospect is a buyer or a seller prospect. If they're a buyer prospect and they say to you, we are not going to buy anything until at least the end of September, okay, and we're sitting here early July. Now, you might think, okay, well then I'll follow up with them closer to September. Here's the problem though. What you need to determine is, are they looking right now? See, because here's what you don't know. Every weekend they go and they look at open houses. Even though they're not going to be buying anything until September, they're looking at properties, all right? Now here's the danger in that. If they're actively going out looking at properties, that means they're meeting other realtors. The more other realtors that they meet, the more difficult it's going to be for you to procure their business when you follow up with them again later on in, late August or September. And the reason is because it isn't unlikely that they may have established some relationships with some of those agents, and some of those realtors are really quite nice. Now, it's unlikely that those other agents will get them to sign an exclusive buyer agreement, but it still makes your job more difficult now to procure their business and to have them commit exclusively to you. And it was completely unnecessary. Had you done it in the beginning, this is sort of the litmus test. Is the prospect actively looking for properties? Not to buy, but are they looking? And here's one of the ways that you might know. If the prospect responded to a buyer ad that you ran, the only reason that they would have even found your buyer ad is because they must have been actively looking for properties, which means it isn't unlikely that in doing that, they might come across other realtors. If we find that prospect, even though they're not buying anything, we can still give them a better way to look. So I could say this to Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith, I can see that you're actively looking for real estate right now, even though obviously it's your intentions not to purchase anything for several months. If I've emailed you every day all of the properties that came on the market that matched exactly what you're looking for, particularly the hard to find deals, bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, would that make looking for your next property easier for you? I couldn't help but notice that you found my ad online. And if you're scouring the various websites every day trying to find the perfect property, it can be really time consuming and you could be missing out on a lot of the available properties. Would you like me to set you up on my daily email? It's absolutely free and there's no obligation. Would you find that helpful, Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Smith says, sure. And I say this, well, Mrs. Smith, I want to do a really good job of determining what it is I should be sending. When do you have 15 or 20 minutes where we can sit down together and go over your criteria in detail? Now, I understand that you're not in a position ready to buy anything today, but you are spending time looking. So I'm flexible and open to days, evenings, weekends. What would be convenient to you? In other words, I want to make it really clear that I don't think that you're buying a home today. I'm giving you a reason why, even though you're not buying a home today, you are looking today, and I've got a better way for you to look that doesn't cost you money and doesn't obligate you to do anything, right? So now here's what happens. Mrs. Smith books the appointment with me. I've made it really clear. Do not bring your wallet or checkbook. We're not going to charge you any money. You're never obligated to buy a home. But you are spending your time right now looking, Mrs. Smith. I know you're spending your time looking because you found my ad. And the only way you would have found my ad is because you're actively looking for real estate, even if your intentions aren't to buy anything right now. I've got a better way for you to see all of the great properties that match what you and your family are looking for. We sit down for 15 or 20 minutes. I can do a really good job for you, and then you'll receive emails every day. So I book an appointment with Mr. or Mrs. Smith. Now, here's the deal. The buyer appointment makes it very, very clear, under no circumstances you ever obligated to buy anything at any time. Whether you do buy or whether you don't buy, you will never pay me a nickel. I get paid by the seller, should you purchase. And at any point in time, if you don't feel I'm doing a great job, here's my cancellation guarantee. You cannot make a mistake in hiring me. All I ask in return is for your loyalty. Does that sound fair? So we've taken this prospect that had made it abundantly clear they're not going to be buying anything until at least the end of September, months away. But we've given them all the reason in the world why, since they're actively looking right now, we can get them in and we can get them signed to a 12-month buyer agreement. And there's only upside for them in doing so. Okay, now, so here's what I'm telling you. With a buyer prospect, because we're getting the buyer prospect signed to a lengthy 12-month agreement, or at least a 6-month agreement, and because they're never obligated to buy anything, and because they're actively looking for properties now anyway, and you can help them with that, bringing the buyer in and booking an appointment with that prospect now makes sense. If they're actively looking, bringing that prospect in now makes complete sense if they're a buyer. But let's go over to the seller side. And what if the prospect says this? Well, listen, we've already bought new construction, but it isn't going to be ready until sometime in December. All right, so we're not putting our home on the market now because we notice that properties on our street are selling, in a matter of days or weeks. All right, so you've identified this prospect in July. They've already bought firm, and their property is going to be ready in December. You booking an appointment with a prospect who's moving in December, in July, would be a huge mistake. Do you see the difference here? With a seller, we have to be more accurate in terms of their timing. That's why Craig developed the gold plan follow-up system with the seller, is because we don't want to be too early, but we certainly don't want to be too late. So here's the offer that we're going to make to the seller. When we identify that it is July the 9th, and this seller isn't going to be moving until sometime in December because they bought new construction that isn't going to be ready until December. Okay, here's what this means. We are going to make that seller an offer to send them ongoing information that they would find helpful, that they say yes to, thus giving us permission to follow up with them again. So here's how this would sound. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I've got a free monthly newsletter that I put together, and it has great market information, keep you up to date on what's happening in the marketplace, prices, helpful tips on preparing your home for sale, things like that. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation, but I think you'll find it really helpful. Would you like me to include you in that monthly email every month, Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Smith says, sure, that would be really helpful. And then I say, and Mrs. Smith, would it be okay if I were to also follow up with you a little closer to when you think you might be ready to put your home on the market? Would that be okay? Mrs. Smith says, sure, you can do that. And I say, and when do you think would be a good time for me to do that, timing-wise? When are you thinking? Mrs. Smith says, well, probably sometime in October. So I say, great, I'll give you a call sometime around then. And in the meantime, I'll send you the information that I talked about in my monthly newsletter. Okay, now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the time and you're going to cut it in half. And what you're going to do is you're going to send information, like for example, before you follow up, not only have you been sending your newsletter, but what you might want to do is send something more specific. For example, an area home sales report would be really easy to send. So before you make your follow-up call, you send them, maybe half a dozen properties in their neighborhood that have sold, and you follow that up with your follow-up phone call. Because you've already spoken with Mrs. Smith before. So now you can say, hi, Mrs. Smith, it's James calling with Craig Proctor's office at RE/MAX Omega. The reason I'm calling is you and I had spoken a few months ago about your upcoming move. You bought some new construction, and I've been sending you the monthly newsletter and just sent you information about some area home sales in your neighborhood. And I'm just calling to let you know that I did send that. I hope that's okay, Mrs. Smith. All right. And boom, now you're in the script. Ms. Smith, are you still planning on making your move sometime in December? The more information we can send and the more contacts you have with the prospect prior to the appointment, what you're doing is you're establishing yourself as their realtor. All right, so let me just repeat that. With a seller, because we cannot be too early, right? The more contacts we have with that seller, both in terms of what we send them and our conversations with them, the more we are establishing ourselves as their agent. We are not their agent. Until they hire us, we are not their realtor. But the more contacts we have with that seller between the time we identify them and the time they're ready to list, the more we've established ourselves as their realtor. And here's the important thing. We're not calling them to bother them. We're always centered around providing information. That's why I say the offer is the newsletter. They say yes. Then before you call them, not only are you sending them a newsletter, but before you follow up with them again, send them an area home sales report. The more information that you send them, the more you're establishing yourself as the provider of information. Okay, so you can see that there's a difference between following up with a long-term buyer prospect and a longer-term seller prospect. With the seller prospect, we really got to be careful about timing. With the buyer prospect, we don't. As long as they're buying something within the next 12 months, as long as they're looking, we've got a better way for them to look. If a buyer were to say, no, we're not buying anything for several months, we're just looking right now. You are? Okay, well, since you're looking, how are you looking? Well, we drive by open houses. We look in the newspaper and online a little bit. Well, what if I told you that in doing that, you're missing out on some of the absolute perfect properties that you should be seeing as well? I can email you every day all of the properties from all the real estate companies as soon as they come on the market, so they're sitting in your email inbox. But maybe more importantly than that, I'll also include any bank foreclosures, company-owned distress sales, the hard-to-find deals that you won't find in the newspaper or in some of these other places that you're looking. I'll make sure they're sitting in your inbox as soon as they come on the market. Best part, Mrs. Smith, it's free. There's absolutely no cost, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that make looking for a home easier for you? Sure it would. Great. When can we get together for 15 or 20 minutes so I can take down what you're looking for and do a really good job of making sure I'm sending you the right properties? What would be convenient? Days, evenings, something this weekend? It's easy. Okay. So I wanted to begin this morning by discussing that, and hope you found that helpful. But if you do have any questions about that, you can type them into the chat or volunteer to role play. Whatever it is you want to do, that's what we're here to do. So Andrea, take it away.
Yes, sir. If you haven't done so already, some already have. Go ahead and type your request to role play or your comment or question in the chat box. You can also click the hand icon to role play. You have to have a working mic or be on the telephone. Our first guest is Victor Chikiti. Your mic is now open. Victor?
Hello, Victor.
It's on Young Street in Richmond.
Victor sounds like he sounds like he may be busy. We have Philip Doyon, and he said he has a question regarding what you're speaking of, so I'm going to pull up his line. Philip, your line is open.
Can you hear me, James?
I can hear you loud and clear, Philip.
Okay, great. Well, my question is in regard to this is I have an objection that came up a couple of times. The prospective buyer doesn't want me to get involved yet. He says that he likes to look for properties on his own So I was wondering if you ever came across these objections.
Well, you are looking for them on your own. In other words, so I would say, Philippe, the way this works is all I'm doing is I'm emailing you all of the properties that match what you're looking for. When you receive the email, I'll make sure that it includes all of the information about the property so you can get in your car and you can drive by and look at any property you like. I'm not suggesting that I'm going to pick out the properties for you to look at, nor am I suggesting that I'm going to drive you around to look at them. But if you don't have access, if you don't know about the great deals, then it means you're missing out on those. So would you reconsider receiving these properties on a daily basis that match what you're looking for?
Sounds good to me.
Right. In other words, what you're telling me, Philippe, is the prospect doesn't understand the offer that you're making them.
Yes.
And listen, if the prospect doesn't understand, we have to take responsibility. That's our fault. If they don't understand, it's because we didn't explain it properly. That's all. So we just need to restate the offer more clearly so that they understand. If they think, if we make the offer and the prospect thinks, so you're going to pick properties for me and drive me around to these properties? No, thanks. I mean, that's your fault. If they think that, it's your fault. It means that's how you explained it to them. That's what they think. So we need to make sure that they understand perfectly the offer that we're making them. Every day you check your email inbox. In that email inbox will be any properties that match the criteria that you're looking for, including and especially the great deals. At your convenience, if you like, you can take a look at any of these properties at your leisure. It's free. There's no obligation to buy anything, but at least that way you wouldn't be missing out on anything. Does that sound like something that would be helpful to you?
Okay, got to choose my words. Got to choose my words carefully. Want to do a role play?
Okay, let's do it. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hello, may I speak with Mr. McDonald, please?
Yeah, this is James. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Philippe with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for great foreclosures and great deals. Just wanted to let you that I've popped that in your email. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, James, were you thinking of making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Maybe. It might be longer than 6 months, but at some point we will.
And do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
No, we own.
Tell me, James, are you planning on staying in the area, or will you be moving out of the area?
No, we're looking to stay in Dorval.
Okay, and if you were to move, James, when do you think that might be?
If we were to move, you know what? It could be, it could be a year from now. It could be 6 months from now. We just would need to find the right property.
And do you have a realtor to help you with that?
No, we're just looking right now.
Okay. Well, James, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that would match your home buying criteria? My list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distressed sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. You think that might be helpful?
Yeah, you know what? We're just looking around right now, so we're just looking on our own. We really didn't want to use a realtor just yet, so we just go online and we look in the newspaper and we go to some open houses. So for now, we're good.
Okay, but maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. I have something that would be helpful is the great deals, the thing that you can't find on your own. That's what I'm proposing to you. Would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, no, I'm looking. I mean, even if I see a great deal, which we do from time to time, we're not in a position to buy any of them right now. So, yeah.
Well, okay, makes sense. Would you like me to send you my monthly newsletter to keep you in touch with what's happening in the marketplace in the meantime?
Sure.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll set you up with my monthly newsletter, and maybe sometime down the road I could get back in touch with you to see if it would be a good idea for me to set you up on my free automated lists. Then you could receive the great deals as soon as they get on the market. Do you think that might be helpful down the road?
Sure. Okay,
One would be
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you, Philippe, right here. Okay. here's what I want you to consider for a second. What information did I initially request from you?
Bank foreclosures and great deals.
Okay, so just to be clear, I saw your ad because I was looking for properties, and I saw your ad that said bank foreclosures, distress sales, great deals in Dorval or whatever it was. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and I responded to that ad. So what do you know about me?
While you're actively looking.
And what was I compelled by?
Great deals.
Right. Okay, so when I say to you, well, we're not really in a position to buy right now, okay, that's an objection. Now that I've made an objection, now you can handle that objection with logic. So you know two things about me. One, you know I'm actively looking, and two, I responded to an ad that offered great deals. Well, you might want to say that to me, right?
Okay.
You might want to say, hey, James, listen, I couldn't help but notice that you were actively looking for properties in the newspaper, which is where you saw my ad, and you requested a free list of great deals in the marketplace. So if you're looking for a great deal, and I have access to great deals every day as they come on the market that you won't find online or in a lot of other places, all I'm proposing is that I email them to you for free every day so that you're aware of them. Are you certain that that's something that you wouldn't consider? Like, you got to make sure, fight with logic. You're not being rude, you're not being combative, you're simply using logic. See, because I was being the prospect there, and what I'm hearing from you doesn't compel me at all. It doesn't, the language that you're using doesn't paint the right picture. The picture is this. I want this picture painted. You get up in the morning, you check your email. In your email inbox are going to be properties that have come on the market the night before that match what you're looking for, that are awesome deals. And if you like them, you can go take a drive by and look at them. And if you don't like them, you can delete them. Easy as pie. Right? That's the picture that you want to paint in the prospect's head. Because if that picture is painted, they say, yeah, you know what? That would kick butt. That'd be great. And they will say yes. But we've got to paint that picture for them. So, I mean, here's the thing. You said that this is coming up once in a while. But if it's coming up once in a while, then it's something that you really do need to address. If you said, well, you know, it really never happens, most of my prospects are pretty agreeable, well, then you're probably doing a really good job, and I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's always the exception versus the rule. But, you know, obviously you're very, very good at this, Philippe, and what we're doing is we're working on the finer points. But that's what we're here for. You know, that's what we do. So that's my suggestion to you. And I would definitely work on that language with those particular prospects.
Well, that was a gem. Thank you so much, James. I'm sure it's going to help.
You're welcome. Thanks, Philippe. All right, who's next?
Well, our next question comes in the form of a chat from Patrick, and it says, can the Market Watch newsletter be sent via email?
Sure. You send it any way you like. You know, as part of your Success website, you've got a Stay in Touch newsletter. It's not customized, but you can customize it by, as I said, you can send it along with an area home sales report or something like that. The point is, it isn't even so much of what you send. I mean, that you've offered them information and that they've accepted the information is the permission to ask them, can you follow up and when would be a good time? That's really what we're trying to establish. Remember this. What is the purpose of the universal callback script? It's to determine timing and motivation. So when we make the offer to send them the newsletter, it doesn't matter whether we email it, whether it's mailed, what it is. Okay, it's going to contain information regardless, some better than others. The point is, it gives us a window into, number one, would it be okay if I followed up with you when you're closer to making your move? And when would be a good time for me to do that? Timing and motivation. Would it be okay? Yes, you're motivated. When would be a good time? Call us in August. Timing. So I'll tell you this, though. The better the information you send, the better you're establishing yourself as their realtor because the information you're providing is more valuable. All right, so think about that for a second. if you mail them a really good newsletter that contains information about their marketplace, with each piece of information they're receiving from you, you are establishing yourself as the provider of information. Everything you send them is going to be branded to you, heavily branded to you. So they know that you are the provider of this information. Now, here's what happens over time. This information that's coming from you establishes you as the local expert. People want to do business with experts. You're the expert. They want to do business with the expert. When you follow up with them again by telephone, they're talking to the expert in the marketplace, the provider of information. You're establishing yourself as their realtor. You are giving yourself such a huge head start over the competition that the likeliness of you getting their listing is huge. So now, if you are going to mail the information, the information has to be opened, which means it has to be sent one of two ways. Either number one, preferably in a plain white number 10 envelope, handwritten with a live stamp. Want to know why? Because it'll get opened. If it's handwritten with a live stamp, it will get opened. The only other way that you want to send it is not in an envelope, just the newsletter addressed to them, so that they are reading, they're reading the headline and it's branded to you on the newsletter. That's another way you can send it, but it isn't as good as putting it in a white number 10 envelope, handwritten and hand addressed and live stamped. Okay, next question.
Our next question comes from Larry. He says, why is it okay to book an appointment with a buyer that says they are not buying in the next 6 months? This seems to contradict the instructions in the universal callback script.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because again, the question is, are they looking? Are they actively looking? Even if they're not buying, if they're looking, they're going to find another realtor. If you let that prospect go and you say, oh, okay, you're not buying anything for 6 months? Okay, I'll call you back at 5 months and 29 days. I'll call you the day before you plan on buying. Okay, knock yourself out. But guess what? They're already working with a realtor then. See, with a buyer, you can be too late. If they said this, look, we're not even looking for properties right now. We're not even going to start looking until September. We're not looking at all. Well, in that case, then making them the offer to help them look wouldn't be compelling. So in that case, you're right. You would follow up with them. What I'm saying is this. If the prospect isn't going to buy for 6 months, but they are actively looking right now, we can help them look. And the danger is if we don't help them look, they're going to find and meet another realtor or many other realtors, and now we're going to make our job harder. That's the problem. So if we're signing them to a 12-month buyer agreement anyway, and the buyer agreement doesn't obligate them to buy a home at any time, and we give them a cancellation guarantee, and we're not charging them any money, the buyer has no problem, doing that. So why wouldn't we get them signed to a 12-month agreement, and why wouldn't we get them in early? I want you to consider something else as well. When the buyer says, we're not buying for 6 months, I would like to make you a gentleman's bet that they will not be buying 6 months from now. They will be buying within 6 months. Any prospect that says 6 months is within 6 months. Just like if they say within a year, it's within a year, right? The job of the prospect is always to make themselves appear as though they're less motivated than they actually are. Think of yourself. We always, to the salesperson, make ourselves appear as though we're less motivated than we actually are. So here's what's going to happen. They say 6 months, and you say, okay, I'm going to put that in my calendar. They're not buying anything for 6 months. I want you to call them 6 months from that phone call. And when you call them back 6 months from that phone call, guess what they've already done long time ago? They've already bought long time ago. And you know that's true. So this is the benefit of having a 12-month buyer contract that doesn't obligate them to buy anything. It doesn't cost them any money. It allows us to bring them in earlier. As long as they're looking, we've got a better way. If they're not looking, then we'll follow up with them as you're suggesting. But if they are looking, let's get them in and get them signed to a contract. All right, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, we have Nazira Jamal asking to role play. Your telephone line is now open.
Hi, James. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Awesome. So I wanted
So-
to role play.
All right.
I've been getting Commission Inc. leads, and I'm having a bit of trouble because they're already getting properties from the site as property alerts, right? So
Okay.
I just wanted to go through that with you.
Okay, so ring ring. Hello.
Hi there. May I speak with James, please?
Yeah, this is James.
Hi, James. It's Miss Sierra calling from Remax, and the reason I'm calling is you've registered for our property search website, and I'm just calling to let you know that you have full access. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Are you guys planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We're looking.
Okay. Do you currently rent or do you own, James?
We rent.
And are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
No, we're looking locally. Yeah, we're open to a couple of different areas, but we don't want to be too far away.
Okay. And if you were to move, James, when do you think that would be?
Sometime, maybe by the end of this year, we're hoping.
Okay. And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
Not really. We've got a couple realtors that are, that have shown us some properties and that have been emailing us some stuff, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates of home that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distressed properties. We also have access to off-market properties. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that be helpful?
Is that different than the properties that I'm accessing on the website right now? I don't mind going on there and doing that.
Right. Well, what we have are lists of properties that actually aren't even on line. And our list includes the bank foreclosures and power of sale homes, which are also not part of the listings that you see on the website. It is a free service. We take about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll go through your criteria, and I will make sure that you get the listings that you're not readily able to find online. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, it is, but probably not quite yet. Maybe that's something that we'd be ready to do, maybe in the next couple of months.
Okay. This is where I get stuck.
Okay, so first of all, here's one thing that you did. You have to get me to focus on the offer before you tell me that you want to meet with me for 15 minutes. As soon as you say that, all I'm focused on is meeting with the realtor, and I don't want to meet with the realtor. I'm afraid of the realtor. So you have to focus on the offer. Okay, here's what I'm going to suggest for you. I want you to test this. When you're giving prospects access on your website, and that's why you're calling them, so through Commissions Inc., this is what you want to do. When you make your offer, you want to reference that. You want to say, so it would sound like this. Hey, James, in addition to the properties that you're getting access on through the website, would you also like me to email you all of the hard-to-find deals that you might not find elsewhere? We've got bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, off-market homes, vacant properties, distressed sales, great deals that might perfectly match what you're looking for. And as soon as they come on the market, I can email them to you immediately for free. Would you find that helpful, James?
Okay, that's awesome.
In other words, I'm not competing with the access to the emails. What I'm saying is, hey, James, in addition to the properties that you're accessing through the website, would you also like me to email you all of the properties that you might not find elsewhere, the hard to find deals, bank foreclosures? I have access to distressed sales, company owned properties, probates, vacant homes, recently price reduced properties, great deals that I can access that match exactly what you're looking for, and I can email them to you the second they come on the market for free. Would you like to have access to those properties as well? Yes. Great. when can we get together for 15 minutes so I can do a great job of determining what you're looking for accurately so that I can be assured I'm sending you the right properties? I'm flexible and there's no cost, as I said. There's no obligation to buy anything, but I do want to do a good job for you. What's better for you? Days, evenings, weekends? What would be best? Make the offer first. Make them say, yeah, that would be really good. Then say, when have you got 15 minutes to sit down and do a good job for you?
Okay, perfect.
But I think what you need to do is you need to differentiate between what they're accessing and what you're proposing to send them. You've got to make it sound like what you're proposing to send them now is way better than the access that they have through your website. Like, almost make it sound like this. Hey, listen, the properties that you're going to see on my website, you know, they represent the run-of-the-mill properties that every other buyer sees. What I'm suggesting is I have access to properties that other buyers aren't getting. They're the deals. They're the great deals that come on the market, the bank foreclosures. Would you like me to email you those properties as well? All right, hope that's helpful. Thanks for volunteering.
That was very good. Thank you, James.
You're very welcome. All right, who's next?
Our next request to role play comes from Darwin and Lindy. I'm going to pull up your lines now. Go ahead, Lindy. Your line is live. Okay, I think we'll move on. We have Evangeline Lynn. Your mic is now open. Evangeline.
All right, why don't we take some chat questions while we're...
Okay, we do have a chat question from a member who's already left. I'll go ahead and read it out. They wanted to be anonymous. It says, is there a script for calling sphere of influence who you have not spoken to in a long time? They're having trouble with this.
Well, I don't know if it would be the best use of your time. In no way have they indicated any kind of motivation to buy or sell real estate. What I would much prefer you to do is send them information. That's why we have like a stay in touch newsletter for past clients. Send out your newsletter quarterly. And what would be way better is to do like a voice broadcast to everyone in your database that falls into that category. So instead of calling one at a time, why don't you use voice broadcasting through AMS, and you can leave a personal message from you, but it'll go into the voicemail of everyone in your sphere of influence, and maybe making some kind of offer. Hey, you know what? If you know someone who's thinking about making a move sometime this summer, by the end of the summer, or if you're considering doing it, give me a call. Haven't spoken to you in a little while. Love to catch up with you and see what's happening. I've got a newsletter. I can prepare a area home sales report for you. Just give me a call. Whatever information you need, I'd love to help you out and provide it to you. And you could leave that message. Here's the problem. If you're just going to call people you know, it tells me you don't have better people to call, which means that's the problem. So let me repeat that. If you are thinking of calling people you know, just calling people I know, it tells me that you don't have better people to call. And better people to call would be those who have indicated a motivation to buy or sell real estate because they've responded to your marketing. Those are the people that you should be calling. So if you don't have those people to call, that's what needs to be addressed. We need to work on getting you people to call that have indicated a motivation to buy or sell real estate so that you don't resort to calling, you know, an old neighbor or an old family friend or people that in no way, shape, or form have indicated any idea, any motivation that they want to buy or sell real estate. That will be time consuming and fruitless. So that's my answer. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, Alexandra types in, I had an objection from a buyer last week telling me that none of the realtors ever asked him to sign a buyer-broker agreement, and he bought and sold a lot of properties over the years. He was an investor. It's probably different with investors.
Well, first of all, I'm only assuming that this objection came up at the presentation, because here's the deal. If this came up over the phone, then it isn't something that you really should have been discussing over the phone, because the answer over the phone is no, you don't have to sign anything. I mean, no, you don't have to do anything. We're not talking about you signing a buyer contract over the phone. No discussion. The object of the phone call is to determine timing and motivation of the prospect. In this case, they were a motivated investor. What we want is for that motivated investor, if they are indeed motivated, to be compelled to want to meet with us. Now, let's consider this for a second. If they can just use any realtor they want, and they've done this a million times before, then I have two questions. One, why did they respond to our ad? And number two, why did they agree to meet with us? That's my question. If you're such a pro and you do this all the time and you buy properties from realtors, I have two questions. Why did you respond to my ad? And number two, why were you compelled to meet with me based on the offer that I made you? Right? Like, use logic. There's a reason why they wanted this information. Okay? Here's the bottom line. If they are at the appointment and they balk at hiring you, it is the fault of the presentation. The presentation didn't create enough benefit and remove enough risk. That's the deal. Risk removal and benefit. So the benefit of your representation, the benefit of everything that you're going to provide to them wasn't enough. And the reversal of risk of them hiring you wasn't evident either. So here's what I might recommend. You should offer a cancellation guarantee. And you should really work on the presentation itself, obviously, in terms of the benefits of your representation. Like, think about this for a second. Does the buyer benefit from being legally represented exclusively from you? Do they benefit? And if you're thinking, nope, well, then you're certainly not going to compel them to think that they are. If you don't believe that your legal representation is beneficial, then I'll tell you right now, they're not going to believe it either. But if you're nodding your head right now saying, yes, of course, if I represent them, if I am their exclusive realtor that they have hired, and I am legally obligated to represent their best interests, I will do a killer job for them. Right? Here's why. This. Then you know it's in their best interest. You need to articulate that to them so that they understand it. And then at the end, you can say, here's the best part. You will never pay me. You know that. You'll never pay me a nickel. I don't care if you buy something or not. You'll never pay me. We're going to find you an amazing deal, get you a great return on investment, and you're not going to pay me. We're going to get the seller to pay me. Number two, you don't have to buy anything. If we don't find anything for you, you're under no obligation to buy anything. And number three, I'm going to give you my investor cancellation guarantee. Here's what it says. When I work with an investor, if you don't feel that I'm finding you the very best deals or whatever other reasons, you're not obligated to use somebody that isn't helpful to you. I want to put the onus on me to do a great job for you every day. Now, you will find that other realtors will not offer you a cancellation guarantee. I will. All I ask in return is for your loyalty. I represent buyer clients, but you need to hire me. Although there's no risk attached to that and there's no cost attached to that, that's how I work. Is that fair? No, I'm not a big fan of loyalty. I like all the agents working hours and hours and hours for me, and then I just go and buy it privately or through another realtor friend of mine. Would you rather find that out in 15 minutes or would you rather find that out 5 weeks later? I mean, it's up to you. What would you prefer? Remember, exception versus rule. Here's the difference. I had this investor this one time. Well, who cares then? It's one time. Don't worry about it. Yes, there are lots of idiots out there. Once in a while, you're going to get one. That's different than, this is happening to me over and over and over again. No one wants to, sign the contract or whatever it is. If it's the rule and it's happening all the time, it's you. What you're doing isn't working, change it. But if it's once in a while, if it's the exception, well, yeah, don't worry about it. That's okay. Great question. Who's next?
Okay, Darwin and Lindy figured out their mic issue, so I'm going to go ahead and try them again. Darwin and Lindy, please go ahead.
Hello. Hello, this
Hello?
is Lindy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and
Hello?
clear. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thanks. I'm
Okay.
a little nervous because my husband's now trying to get me to do the role play, so now I'm going to test myself out.
Okay, well, let's do it then. All right, so ring ring, hello.
Hello, is this James?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
Hi, James. This is Lindy calling. The reason I'm calling is because I received your request for the information you wanted for the distress sales, and I'm going to put that in an email to you and send it over. Is that okay?
So you're a realtor?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Didn't really expect a realtor to call me.
Okay, well, I know that you did request these distress sales, and so I wanted to send them to you via email. And is that okay to do that? Because I know that you did notify me that you were looking for those types of properties.
Sure.
Okay, great. While I have you on the phone, I just wanted to ask if you're planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months.
Maybe. Yeah, we're looking around.
Okay. And where you are now, are you currently renting or do you own your home?
No, we own.
Okay. And are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
We are looking in the area. Yeah, I had indicated on your website the different areas that we're interested in and stuff like that.
Okay, so when you move, where would that be?
Where will it be?
Yeah, where
Well,
might
we've
that
got
be if you move?
we've got it narrowed down to a few different neighborhoods that we like, but we're going to stay local.
Okay. And do you have a realtor to help you right now when the time is right?
No.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask if you would like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your buying criteria from all the real estate companies, because our lists include bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, private sales, vacant properties, and this is a free service for you, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that be something that would interest you?
Yeah. Now, is that I haven't seen the email that you've sent yet, so I haven't had a chance to look at those properties.
Okay.
Maybe I'll look at those first, and then we can look at some more maybe a few weeks later or something.
Well, the ones I'm going to email you, those are just general homes, and so this would be something that would be more specific to your needs, and these would include all the properties that the bank foreclosure, company-owned properties, distress sales.
Well, those are the properties that that's what I responded to on your website, were the distress sales and bank foreclosures. So that's that was what that's what I had asked for from your website.
Yes, so if you would like, what I can do for you is every morning when you wake up, you can have access to those properties, these hard-to-find deals that you might not find anywhere else, and I can email them to you. And of course, it's free. The service is completely free. And so would that be something that would interest you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. When would be a good time for us to sit down for about 20 minutes or so to take down exactly what you're looking for? Because I'd love to do a great job for you, and I just want to get your specific criteria for these types of homes.
Well, I could. I did indicate on your website some, the details in terms of price and some of the areas and stuff like that. So I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look there, but.
I did, but just to let you know, James, the criteria that there's about probably 50 areas that you can fill out. So I just want to make it very specific for you, so you don't waste your time looking at properties that hundreds of homes that don't match your criteria, and then you miss out on that perfect one. So if we can get together for 20 minutes and we can fill out this form, and I can take exactly what you're looking for, just so I can do a really great job. Is our days or evenings, weekends better for you? What time would work?
I guess the weekend, Saturday's great.
Okay, that sounds great. So let's set something up on Saturday. Is the morning better for you? How about 10 in the morning?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure about 10 in the morning. Let me speak with my wife, and then I'll give you a shout back if that's okay.
Okay. Now, just while I have you on the phone, maybe what we could do is just tentatively set something up. Again, there's no, it doesn't have to be confirmed, but we can just say, you can talk to your wife after, and then we can say 10 o'clock. And then if that's a problem for you, you can call me back. But what do we say that we just set something up right now, and then you can just let me know. I'll shoot you off an email with my contact, and then you can call me and let me know if that has to change if your wife's not good.
Yeah, okay, we can do that.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay, so first of all, Lindy, good job.
Yes. Okay.
Accept. This is what I want you to do. All right, and this is okay. This is a familiar refrain. Okay, here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do when a prospect requests the list of distressed sale bank foreclosure properties is you need to make sure you differentiate between what you're proposing to do now versus what you've sent them. See, what you said to me was, would you like to receive bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, great deals? The list I've sent you is general properties. No, it isn't. The list you sent me were distress sales. That's what I requested. What you've got to get straight in your head is this, okay? Lindy, what I've sent you are properties that are already on the market. They're already for sale on the market right now today, and they have been on the market for some time. What I'm proposing to do is send you properties that are not yet on the market, but when they are available, I want to make sure that they're sitting in your email inbox immediately, especially the bank foreclosures, distress sales, and hard to find great deals. It's free. There's no obligation. Would that be helpful moving forward?
Okay.
Sounds good. So I want you to go back and listen to what you said. Okay, so this is recorded, so you can go back. It makes a big difference because remember, the prospect, they're listening to what you're saying. And I'm listening and I'm thinking, well, you just told me you emailed me bank foreclosures and distress sales. So I'm prepared to look at bank foreclosures. So I don't get what the difference is. You need to explain to me, here's the difference. Those properties that you're about to look at, they've already been overlooked by all the other buyers. That's why they're still available for sale, because the other buyers haven't bought them. Right. What I'm proposing is this. The best deals go very quickly. I'm going to send you, as they come on the market every day, all the properties that match what you're looking for, especially the hard-to-find great deals like the distress sales, etc.
Okay.
And I say, okay, I get that. Okay, now, one other thing. When you are introducing yourself, you need to explain who you are.
Okay.
Like you can't just call and say, hi, it's Lindy. I mean, I don't know who you are. You need to identify yourself more slowly and more thoroughly. Okay. I'm Lindy calling on behalf of who or what real estate company. Okay. You know, probably required by law to do that, let alone just you should. So I make that very clear, because that way we need to make it very clear that we're calling because you requested information from us in regards to this. Is that okay? Yes, great, thank you. But that was very good, and I like the way you set up the tentative appointment too. Makes perfect sense, so that's great.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest stump I had was when you did say that about the already getting those properties, so that was great to help me with that, organizing that in my thoughts. Right.
You've got, and that's the key, is understanding that what you're proposing to send them is a whole lot better than what you have already sent them. What you've already sent them isn't very good compared to what you're proposing to send them. You've got to get them to understand that too.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, James.
Thank you. All right, Andrea, let's take a few chat questions.
Okay. Patrick has another question. What is the best way to work with out-of-state buyers who are moving to California?
Read that again.
What is the best way to work with out-of-state buyers who are moving to his marketplace?
The best way is to, when you follow up with them, to determine when they plan on coming to your marketplace and booking an appointment with them at that time. That's the best case scenario. Okay, now, are there other things you can do? Yeah, I mean, if they're really compelled and they're calling other realtors or whatever it is, you can try to give them the buyer presentation over the phone. But, you know, I got to be honest, I've heard a handful out of thousands that have done it successfully. What is a much more likely scenario is that If they say we're planning on buying in California, the question is, and when do you plan on doing that? Well, we're hoping to buy something within the next 6 months. When is your next planned trip to come out here to look at properties? Well, we're planning on coming at the end of July. Great. In the meantime, would you like me to send you my newsletter with great market information as well as the properties that match your home buying criteria that are available on the market today? Would that be helpful? It's free. There's no obligation. Yes. When would be a good time for me to follow up with you before you make it out here? Well, we're coming out on the 27th, right? Like, you need to just figure out when they're planning on coming. When they plan on coming, then you're going to follow up with them before that. And you're going to book an appointment so that when they arrive, they're going to meet with you. And when they meet with you, you're going to get them to sign a buyer agency contract. And the benefit is you're going to set up showings, right? But that is the best case scenario by far. Listen, if they're going to buy something in California, they're going to come to California. You need to figure out when that is. All right, let's take another question.
Okay, our next question is, would you address how to speak with a prospect that would literally not give you any time to speak and tries to rush you off the phone? It says this comes up quite often for me, and I'm speaking to sync buyers.
Yeah, well, if that's happening to you, it's your introduction, right? I mean, again, if this is happening over and over again, that means it's the rule. Well, the rule means that it's you. You are either speaking too quickly or you're pausing. Like, for example, this would cause everybody to get me off the phone. Oh, hi, Mr. Smith. It's James McDonald calling with Remax Omega Realty. How are you today? Bye. You're done. Gone. Remember, every word and the design of the script was done over many, many years. Everything has a purpose. We've got to make sure that the prospect understands they requested information from us, right? We're not bothering them. They bothered us. We did work for them that they asked us to do. If they don't understand that, though, then yeah, you're a pest. Get rid of pests, pest control. So we just got to, if I heard your introduction, if I heard recordings of you making these calls and I heard your introduction, I guarantee you that that's what I would hear, is that in your introduction, you're either going way too fast or they're not hearing what you're saying, and all they're getting is, hey, I'm some realtor calling you. Well, yeah, you're a salesperson. Bye. You've got to be very clear and concise about who you are and why you're calling, and you need to get it across that they requested information from you. You are responding to their request for information from you. That way, the prospect has to say thank you. And if they don't, then all is lost. So this is what you need to work on, is your introduction. All right, let's take another chat question here before we wrap it up for this morning, Andrea.
We actually don't have any more questions in our chat box.
All right, well, let's take one more volunteer then, and we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Stephen Chen, your mic is open. Stephen? Okay, we'll move on. Try one more time. Alan Adams has requested to chat. I need to pull up his line. Hold on one moment. Alan, your line is now open.
I'm here. Can you hear me, James?
Hello, Alan.
Hi.
I can.
I've met you several times at the conferences and enjoy all your speeches. Let's do a buyer role play. Okay.
All right, ring, ring. Hello.
Hello. Is this James McDonald?
Yes, it is.
Hi, James. This is Alan Adams with American First Realty Group. And the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for a list of distress sales in Newport Beach, and I'd like to tell you that I'm putting that in the email to you this afternoon. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Are you folks planning on moving in the next 3 to 6 months?
3 to 6 months. I don't know. Maybe if we find the right property, I guess it's possible.
Oh, great. Do you currently rent, or do you own your own home now?
No, we own.
Okay. Would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or would you want to sell first?
You know what? We're not going to do anything until we find the right property, so that's sort of where we're at right now.
Great. Are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
No, we're looking in Newport Beach.
Wonderful. If you were to move, when do you think that might be?
You know, we wouldn't do it, you know, much sooner than three, 4 months, I would think. But again, we're just looking around right now. You know, if we find the right property, then we would get more serious about it.
Okay. Do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
Yeah, we've got a realtor that sold us this home, so I suppose they'd help us.
Well, are you committed to using them, or would you be open to looking at someone who's can really help you?
Well, they can help me.
Okay. Well, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or other distressed sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah. No, that'd be great. Is that now? Is that on top of what you've emailed me here?
Oh yes. This would be daily updates of properties. What I'm emailing you now is just the properties that are available right now, and those may or may not be of interest to you. But what I would propose doing is finding out exactly what you're looking for, and then custom tailoring a list just to your exact needs and desires. And that would be a better a better solution for you. But all I need is about 20 minutes of your time. If we can get together sometime in the next couple of days, I can take down exactly what you're looking for.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, probably something on the weekend would be the best on a Saturday. But I better talk to my wife first and check her schedule, because she'd want to be involved as well.
Yes, we definitely want to have your wife involved. Well, now that I have you on the line, if we could get to do you think a morning or an evening would be better for you? Morning, afternoon, or evening? When do you think would be a better time?
Probably sometime early afternoon on Saturday would probably be better. But I'll have to check with her.
Great. Well, why don't we set something up for 2 o'clock, and then while we're on the line, and then check with her and see if that's okay. And if not, then just call me back and we'll move the time. I'm flexible. It's not a problem.
Perfect.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. We'll look forward to getting together with you. I'll email you my information, my contact information, and do you want to get together? We'd like you to get together at my office in Newport Beach. Is that convenient for you?
Sure.
Okay, great. I'll send you the address and directions to get there, and we'll look forward to seeing you then Saturday at 2.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And what you might want to reassure me is this, and remember, as I said, there's no cost or obligation to this. But what I do want you to consider with your wife is everything that's really important to you in the home that you're looking for.
Okay.
Right, that's really good language to use. Is remember, you don't need to bring a wallet or checkbook or anything like that. I'm not charging you any money for this. All I want you and your wife to consider before you come are all the things that are important to you in what you're looking for in a property. Okay, now, the only other thing I'd say is this. When the question is asked, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right? If they indicate in any way that they do, the question is very simple. Are you 100% committed to using that agent exclusively? That's it. That's it. And that's all you need to ask. Are you 100% committed to using that realtor exclusively? And they're either going to say yes or no. No, I'm not. Great. Yes, we are. We're definitely going to use that realtor. Would you be open to speaking to other realtors? Because you know that not all realtors, get the same results and they don't charge the same amount of money to get the job done as well. Are you open to the idea of using another realtor? No, we're 100% committed. Great, thanks. Have a good day. But the only question you need to ask is, are you 100% committed to working with that realtor exclusively? If they say yes. If they don't say yes, then we don't need to ask the question at all. So that was somewhat awkward, but other than that, it was very, very good. And I like your explanation of the offer, of doing a great job of understanding your criteria. And that's really important. Remember, this is what I'm always listening for is, to the prospect, once you've sent them information, the information you're proposing better be a hell of a lot better than what you've already sent them. Because if I feel like it's the same thing, then you're probably not going to book an appointment with me.
Right, and that's very true.
So I thought that was really good, and that's something that everybody needs to really work on. So, okay, well, really good job. I appreciate it. And Andrea, thanks so much for your help today as well. And don't forget, tomorrow is our marketing session, so we can look at your ads. Send in your ads. We'll take a look at those. We'll also talk about some other marketing strategies and anything related to lead generation. So tomorrow is our ad clinic marketing webinar, and we'll look forward to your participation there as well. So Andrea, thanks so much again.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.